Hello beta, let us look at another question today and this is related to finding inverse of a function. Question बहुत ही interesting है क्यों? Because you are given a breakage. This is a function is defined when x is less than 2 and another function is defined when x is greater than or equal to 2 and you need to find the inverse of this function. आपको इसका inverse निकालना है. So let's try to see how to go about solving this question. So we know that whenever we need to find the inverse of any function, if y is a function of x, then inverse means that f will go here. So x will become f inverse y. X will become f inverse y. Right? So first of all, we need to go ahead and change the function. हमें इस function को change करना होगा. तो देखो ध्यान से जरा. I am first doing for this part when x is less than 2, the function is given as x cube minus 1. तो y is equal to x cube minus 1 हमने यहाँ से कर दिया. And then I am just taking 1 on the other side. तो x cube will become y plus 1. है ना? x cube will become y plus 1. ठीक है? अब बेटा यहाँ से हमने x का वैल्यू निकाल लिया. So x will become y plus 1 to the power 1 by 3. क्योंकि यहाँ पे क्यूब है. So when this goes on the other side, it will become to the power 1 by 3. ठीक है? Now, please see this. This is very, very important. देखो, जब हमने बोला that x is less than 2, so we need to find the corresponding y. That if x is less than 2, what will be the value of y? है ना? हमें ये भी तो निकालना होगा कि अगर x less than 2 है, अगर हमारा So try to understand this thing. We are saying that when x is less than 2, then my function is this. X cube minus 1. So correspondingly, I need to find कि y क्या होगा. So if I just put, suppose if I go ahead and if I put x exactly as 2, अगर मैं x को exactly 2 यहाँ पे रखती हूँ, what will I go ahead and what will I get? I will get y is equal to 2 cube minus 1, which is equal to 8 minus 1, which is equal to 7. Right? So if I say that x is less than 2, it means that y is less than 7. क्योंकि x equal to 2 पे y exactly 7 आ रहा है. So when x is less than 2, y will be less than 7. Why I am sure about this beta? क्योंकि ये एक increasing function है. This is an increasing function. है ना? मेरे को जो फंक्शन दिया हुआ है that is given as y is equal to x cube minus 1 और ये एक increasing function है. Whenever I have increasing function, it means जैसे जैसे x increase होगा y increase होगा. अगर x कम होगा तो y भी कम होगा. So when I am taking x less than 2, y will be less than 7. x equal to 2, y will be equal to 2. x greater than 2, y will be greater than 7. तो माने ये समझो that because this is an increasing function, these signs will be in the same direction. So basically what has happened is now we are saying that okay, अगर मेरे को इसका correspondingly if I have to go ahead and if I have to write an inverse gx, so this inverse for the first part x cube minus 1 जो inverse function बन के आया है that has come as y plus 1 to the power 1 by 3 है ना. And we always write inverse in as a function of x only. हम x के terms में लिखते हैं. So the inverse of this function can be written as x plus 1. G, you can write this as f inverse x can be x plus 1 to the power 1 by 3 for all x up to 7. ये इसका inverse function हो जाएगा. Similarly, what's the other thing that you're given, beta? You're given x square plus 3 for all x greater than equal to 2. So y is equal to x square plus 3. X is equal to y minus 3 to the power 1 by 2. Under root. Now, whenever we take under root, जब भी हम under root लेते हैं, so we always say like this. We always take this. Under root means we always take plus minus values, right? X का plus minus value दोनों लेंगे. But this is defined only when x is greater than or equal to 2. right? So since this is only defined when x is greater than equal to 2, mane I cannot take negative values. I have to take positive values. So what function will I get? I am getting the function that x is equal to under root of y minus 3. Mane if I have to go ahead and if I have to write this down in terms of x, it will be x minus 3 to the power half. ठीक है, फिर से I can just plug x as 2 here. So I will get y is equal to 2 square plus 3, which means I'll get 4 plus 3, which means 7. So this is defined whenever x is greater than equal to 7. Man, it's defined when y belongs to 7 to infinity. But since ये मेरा जो function है, इस पूरे को I'm writing it as a function of x only, है ना? क्योंकि हमने f इनवर्स x लिख दिया, x के टर्म्स में लिख रहे हैं, इसलिए यहाँ पे हम इसको x लिख रहे हैं यहाँ पे, राइट? इफ यू गो अहेड एंड इफ यू थिंक इट लाइक दिस, तो भी इट्स करेक्ट, देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग इन इट. ऐसे भी लिख सकते हो कि दो इनवर्स बन गए. द फर्स्ट इनवर्स विल बी, the first inverse can be written as y plus 1 to the power 1 by 3 for y less than 7, and other inverse can be y minus 3 to the power half for y greater than equal to 7. This is also correct, beta. It's also correct, but usually we also write inverse in a function of x, है ना? तो अगर हम inverse को as a function of x ही लिखें, so I will write everything in terms of x only, right? Is this clear? So this will be the inverse function, right? Okay, beta. Thank you. Check the convergence of the following. So you're given this series beta, and आपको इसका convergence check करना है. This is a very simple question. Very, very simple question. ठीक है? तो basically, first of all, let's try to go ahead and expand this series. देखो क्या होगा. So put k as 0. I'm taking b out. Put k as 1. Put k as 2. ठीक है? So what will you get? Beta, anything to the power 0 is 1. This. Okay. Now suppose I go ahead and I take R common ratio as this. R is my common ratio and it's represented by 1 plus P by 100. ठीक है? So what will happen? What will I get? B 1 plus R to the power minus 1, R to the power minus 2, and so on. Okay. So it can be written as B 1 plus 1 by R, 1 by R square, 1 by R cube, and this B 1 by R to the power 0, this. Okay. Achha, now what we can go ahead and what we can do is, you can see that the common ratio is 1 plus R every time we are multiplying with 1 plus R. So this is a geometric progression. So we know that whenever it is GP, the sum of this, the sum of the GP is first term upon 1 minus common ratio. Common ratio, I'll write this as CR, common ratio. ठीक है? तो first term क्या है बेटा? 1 अपॉन 1 माइनस कॉमन रेशियो क्या है, जिससे हम पहली से दूसरे टर्म पे जा रहे हैं, तो वी आर मल्टीप्लाइंग विद 1 बाय आर ना, फिर यहां से जा रहे हैं फिर से 1 बाय आर, सो कॉमन रेशियो इज 1 अपॉन 1 बाय आर. तो ये हो जाएगा ऑफ कोर्स बाहर बी है, तो आई एम जस्ट मल्टीप्लाइंग दिस बाय बी. ठीक है बेटा, आर का वैल्यू क्या लिया हुआ था ये, तो if I just solve this, R का वैल्यू क्या आ जाएगा 100 plus P by 100. ठीक है, so you can just take this. Right? So you will get yeah. This gets cancelled. This gets cancelled. So this will be your sum of geometric progression. Sum of GP will be this. ठीक है? Is this clear? Sum of geometric progression B 100 plus P by P. अच्छा, now just think about it. This is coming as a finite number. तो यहीं से I have proved that this is definitely converging. It's coming as a finite number, so definitely it is converging. That's one way of doing it. But the other way of, the other way of going ahead and of understanding this thing is that whenever you have mod of R less than 1, right, then your geometric progression converges. Whenever your mod R is less than 1, your geometric progression converges. So mod R means what? Mod of the common ratio. Mod of the common ratio. ठीक है, यहां पे हमारा कॉमन रेशियो क्या था बेटा? कॉमन रेशियो था 1 by R, where R is this. तो हमारा जो कॉमन रेशियो निकला था, common ratio, that was 1 by R, where R was this. So 1 by 100 plus P by 100. 100 upon 100 plus P. Okay. And you can clearly see that numerator is 100, denominator is 100 plus P. So this 100 upon 100 plus P, this will be less than 1 as long as P is greater than 0. है कि नहीं? देख लो उससे जरा ध्यान से. So 100 will always be less than 100 plus P. 100 में कुछ ऐड हो रहा है ना, तो जब तक P एक पॉजिटिव नंबर है तो 100 plus P 100 से तो बड़ा ही होगा. And you are given in this question that P is greater than 0. So which means that this mod R, mod of common ratio, this common ratio, it is going to be less than 1. And whenever the common ratio is less than 1, then the geometric progression converges. So in this case, it will converge. समझे बात को? Okay, beta. Thank you. Check the convergence of the following. So beta, you're given this sequence, and you need to check whether this sequence is it converging or not. It's very easy. बहुत मुश्किल नहीं है ये क्वेश्चन करना. तो देखो क्या कर सकते हैं हम. जब भी whenever you're given this -1 to the power n minus 1 ना, it means that there will always be cases. दो तरीके का केस बनेगा. So the case 1 is beta when n is odd. ठीक है, just focus on this part for now. When n is odd, take n to be any number. Suppose I take n to be 5. So -1 to the power 5 minus 1, which means -1 to the power 4, which means 1. Okay. So whenever n is odd, then n minus 1. देखो, अगर 5 odd है, तो 5 minus 1, 4 even हो रहा है. N minus 1 is becoming even. So whenever n is odd, n minus 1 will become even. And if n minus 1 will become even, then -1 to the power anything that is even will give you 1. So this sequence, it will become 1 into 1 by n, which means 1 by n. This will be your sequence. Okay. Second beta, whenever n is even, if n is even, suppose हमने n को ले लिया 6, right? तो -1 to the power 6 minus 1, -1 to the power 5, which means -1. So whenever n is even, n minus 1 will be odd. So minus 1 to the power anything that is odd will give you minus 1, right? So you will get the final sequence as minus 1 into 1 by n, which means minus 1 by n. So your sequence an, it is going to take two parts, beta. An will become 1 by n whenever n is odd, and an will become minus 1 by n whenever n is even. Okay. How do we find convergence or divergence? We take limit n tends to infinity an. So it will be limit n tends to infinity 1 by n, limit n tends to infinity minus 1 by n. ये हो जाएगा when n is odd, when n is even. बेटा 1 by infinity तो 0 होता है और minus 1 by infinity भी 0 होता है. Anything by infinity is 0. माने this is always converging to 0. So it is going to be a convergent sequence. क्या हो जाएगा ये? It is going to be a convergent sequence. Is this clear, beta? Okay. Thank you, beta.